Coming up, new sanctions against Russia as gas tops $4 a gallon across much of the country.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The U.S. and its allies unveiled new sanctions against Moscow over the now 2-week-old invasion of Ukraine. The move to cut off Russian energy imports came as gas prices set new records. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
As the fighting in Ukraine enters a 14th day, the Russian military continues to advance in the southern part of the country, but remains bogged down in other areas, including around the capital city of Kyiv.
I think Putin is angry and frustrated right now.
CIA Director William Burns told the House Intelligence Committee that Russian leader Vladimir Putin is likely to step up the offensive.
Where that leads, I think, is for an ugly next few weeks, in which he doubles down, as I said before, with scant regard for civilian casualties, in which urban fighting can get even uglier.
A temporary ceasefire allowed residents to evacuate the cities of Sumy and Irpin on Tuesday. More than 2 million people have already fled Ukraine. Humanitarian workers say many of the refugees are children.
They'll hold up their stuffed animal and cover its eyes because obviously mom or dad or somebody has done that to them as they've been on their journey to get out to freedom.
Here at the White House, the president announced a ban on all Russian energy imports, including oil and natural gas, saying he is taking aim at the main artery of Russia's economy.
We will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war.
The ban comes amid growing political and public support for the move, despite gas prices reaching an all-time high in the U.S. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the ban in a new video and has called for other countries to follow. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Today, President Biden called on Congress to approve his request for billions of dollars in humanitarian and military aid for Ukraine. The House is expected to take it up as part of a big government spending measure as soon as tomorrow. The Mini SOAR Summit in Ashland wrapped up today, highlighting the importance of tourism and downtown growth. Organizers say shaping our Appalachian region could rely on the work being done by those who are marketing the region to others. So they invited Ashland native Jim Host, founder of Host Communications, to serve as the keynote speaker. Host is known for his sports broadcasting and marketing work, and organizers say he was a pioneer in pitching the region to the rest of the world.
He's had a ton of relevant business and public sector experience in tourism, and obviously he grew up in Ashland, so we had a lot of things that connected the dots for Jim to come back and be a great keynote speaker for us.
For his efforts to bring people into the region, Host was gifted with a painting of his younger self on the baseball field in Ashland and given a key to the city. As announced at the summit, March 8th has now been declared Jim Host Day in Ashland.
Rather chilly day around the mountains today, and some of us falling even cooler as we head into the nighttime hours. That despite cloud cover and rain returning to the picture. Outside right now, you see what's going on. High knob camera at UVA-wise. Well, you don't see a ton of what's going on, but we can tell by the fact that we could still cleanly see those buildings. It's not raining there yet. We're in the upper 30s already into portions of southwest Virginia. We're starting to see a little sheen on the roadway in Moorhead as well, so we could be starting to see a few of those sprinkles making their way further to the north. We're in the low 40s and upper 30s. We don't plan on moving a whole lot as we head into the nighttime hours because of those clouds that we have in place, satellite and radar. Now, to be sure, not a lot of that's reaching the ground, but what is could be briefly heavy at times. We'll get into detail about those higher returns out in southern Kentucky in just a minute. But either way, upper 30s, low 40s with rain working back into the mountains with light northeast winds. I'll have the latest on when more rain moves in or rain moves out, and when we could see a return of Old Man Winter coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Now looking forward to that. Evan, thank you very much. A Pikeville man will serve 125 months in prison. Eugene Cisco III was convicted in November of wire fraud and healthcare fraud. Cisco operated several clinics that treated patients addicted to opioids. He deceived patients into paying hundreds of dollars per month in cash for treatment by falsely claiming his clinics were not eligible to bill Medicaid for certain services they provided. The jury also found Cisco engaged in a health care fraud scheme that caused a loss of more than $2 million to the Medicaid and Medicare programs. Cisco must serve 85% of his prison sentence and was also ordered to pay $5.7 million in restitution. Governor Beshear announced yesterday that the CDC changed the way they measure COVID-19 severity, which means that Kentucky counties will now be categorized by low, medium, and high COVID-19 community levels. This new method will focus on a combination of incidence rates, the number of hospital beds being used, and the number of COVID-19 patients in hospitals. Public Health Director for the Kentucky River District Health Department, Scott Lockhart, says this new method of COVID measurement is a much more balanced approach than previous methods.
Well, we're constantly learning as this pandemic progresses. You know, as we've got 2 years of knowledge now under our belts, we're learning, and yes, we're changing guidance because we want guidance to be as least restrictive as possible.
Lockhart adds that although many eastern Kentucky counties, as you saw there, are categorized as still having high COVID-19 community levels right now, still in the red, in a few weeks the region should catch up with the rest of the state. The development of the Black Gold and Hazard Village shopping centers in the 1980s gave people in the city of Hazard critical shopping infrastructure for decades. WYMT's Zach Hawk talked to the 101-year-old man today who helped make those developments possible.
I see good times ahead.
That is Roy Drinkard, president and CEO of Drinkard Development at the 1989 grand opening of Walmart in Hazard. On Tuesday, he was back in town celebrating a belated 101st birthday. Hazard Mayor Happy Mobilini remembers the importance of Drinkard's work.
So everything that people's ever shopped around here is because of the Drinkard development.
Drinkard's earliest development in Hazard is the Black Gold Shopping Center, the site of the ARH Medical Mall today. But the project almost never happened.
Mayor Gorman said, no, this development's been promised to another developer.
But that developer backed out, so Drinkard was contacted again, but he had a condition.
Mayor sent word to me to come. I said, no, I won't come till he comes to my door. Spend the night at my house and knocks on my door. Well, he and Nan came.
The ordeal sparked a decades-long financial and personal relationship with the city of Hazard, including the latest party on Tuesday.
Happy birthday to you.
Not only myself, but all of my people that work with me. Speak well of Hazard. It's a favorite place to come, and mine too.
In Hazard, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
Amazing. Roy Drinkard also acquired the Hazard Village Shopping Center. He still lives in his lifelong hometown of Coleman, Alabama, where he's involved in educational and philanthropic missions. Born in 1920, the World War II veteran turns 102 years old on July 12th. The city of Pikeville is celebrating International Women's Day by celebrating local women in leadership. City planning events, and officials say coming up with the best ideas are just some of the roles women play in the city of Pikeville's government. Along with displaying leadership in government, there are many women who own businesses in the downtown area. One of those, Jasmine Mead of Upcycled, says Appalachian women are in a league all their own.
When it comes to their attitude, when it comes to the resilience, the stories that they can tell you, the experiences that they can tell you about, there's nothing like an Appalachian woman.
City officials say the leadership of these Appalachian businesswomen are the backbone of the city's economy and are setting a good example for the next generation. It may be a day to celebrate the accomplishments of women, but new numbers reveal the gender pay gap has shown little improvement. Business.org reports women make about $10,000 less than men across the nation. Wyoming has the biggest wage gap, where women earn about 35% less than men. while Washington, D.C. has the smallest gap. Protests were held in several cities today around the world on International Women's Day to demand an end to violence and aggression against women. Such is the case in Mexico City, where thousands of women took to the streets to raise their voices against gender-based violence in a country where between 10 and 11 femicides are committed daily. That's according to UN Women figures. Today, Florida lawmakers passed what opponents have called the Don't Say Gay bill. The measure would limit classroom lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity among young children. The ACLU says 15 other states are considering bills that would also address LGBTQ issues in schools. CBS's Manuel Bajorquez has more.
What they are doing does not represent us.
Some have voiced their opposition in public. For others, the struggle is personal. 17-year-old Andrew Triolo, who is transgender, says the safe space he has sewing and drawing at home was always missing at school.
I was harassed and discriminated against by both students and teachers and administrators alike.
He says years of bullying and physical violence forced him to leave 3 different schools.
I didn't get a high school experience. I didn't get to go to homecoming. I didn't get to go to football games.
He now fears other LGBTQ youth will be hurt by Florida's Parental Rights in Education bill, which would ban classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through grade 3. Republican State Representative Joe Harding sponsored the House bill.
We can't ban a conversation. We can't ban a discussion. That's not what we're doing.
But critics argue a provision allowing parents to sue school districts could have a chilling effect on those discussions, and that the bill's broad language could apply to all grade levels.
You may have LGBTQ youth who do not have a supportive home environment. Wouldn't the school be a safe place?
I think the schools are a safe place, and they need to continue to be a safe place.
Andrew disagrees.
What's your message to anybody who is having some of the struggles that you had?
It's okay to struggle, but eventually you get to a place where you feel like you can express yourself and be happy and do what you want to do.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has voiced his support for the bill. It's put one of the state's largest employers, Disney, in a tight spot, with some employees wanting the company to denounce the bill, but the CEO saying the company will not take a public stance on it. Manuel Bajorquez, CBS News, Panama City Beach.
Coming up on Mountain News at 11, Shell announces it will stop buying fuel from Russia as part of efforts to cut ties with Russia over the war in Ukraine. And a new study is looking at early symptoms that could be signs of Parkinson's disease.
Showers will filter right back into the region. In fact, they are as we head into the overnight. I'll break it all down coming up.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota.